This is the front of the Botanical Journal, one of them that I'm working on. And I love the front. I think it came out very nice. However, when you open up the front of the journal, this is what you see, the little mechanism to turn on the fairy lights so that they look like either fireflies or just lights in a garden. So we need to come up with a way to not only cover this mechanism, but still make it available so that if need be, and you need to change the battery in here, you can by undoing these little screws. And I've come up with an idea that I think will work. So I have some double-sided tape here, and I'm going to add it to the very top right here. I don't want to cover my switch for turning the lights on and off. However, it needs to be thin enough so that you can still get in with a screwdriver to undo those screws. So I have a little bit of double-sided tape here, and I've added it to the top. And then I have some what I call fuzzy cotton tape. Here's some of the other colors that I have in my shop. This is just bits and pieces. I think I have it in lengths of 12 inches, but I thought since I have this blue background, I would like to use this piece to cover that. So that's going to go there. The other thing that I have decided to use is some of this paper from Tailor-Made Journals, Creative Expressions. It's absolutely beautiful floral paper. I just recently heard that Creative Expressions is going out of business, which is pretty sad, actually. I'm not sure the reasons. I haven't heard, but I've pulled this sheet to first make a pocket. And so I want to still see some of this. So I need to mark where I need to cut this paper. I want it to come close to the edge where the book, the join is. So probably about there. I want this, I could either have this blue here or this blue. Now the only thing is when I put my fuzzy cotton tape down this way, it will cover that. So I think I'm going to use this area right here, and I'm going to measure where I want to cut. And so probably at about there. And I'm going to just take it over to my trimmer. I apologize that you guys can't see that, but I'm just trimming it to the width. And then now I realize I should have gone wider because I need it wider this way. So this page is going to go back into my folder. Thank goodness there are 4 sheets of each design. So let me grab the same one. Here it is. And I can use this elsewhere. I need to do the width first. So I'm going to lay it in there, and I want it to come to about there. I still, like I said, want to see some of this blue. Let's lay that in there. Yeah, and so you still see a tiny bit of that blue on the edge. And then let's come in here, and I want to see quite a bit of this blue. So I'm going to trim it off the bottom so that this comes down. And we want our pocket to be there. So I'm just going to trim right here where that D is, and it will come down. Okay, that's our pocket. I need to make my divot in there. And sometimes I like to use this, my envelope punch board, as opposed to a circle punch. So if I'm going to lay that like this, and that's going to cover it, then I want my divot to be about there, which is, that's about center. That's okay. So I'm going to just bring it in and punch it, and it gives you a little bit different of a divot there. And we can go ahead and glue this in. And so I'm just going to use some of my Beacon's 3-in-1 glue and glue it on 3 sides. And then my pocket will be in there. I'm filming this on Thursday. It's probably about 10:30 in the morning. I do have to, at around noon, go pick up my grandson who just turned 13. A friend of his and my grandson, they're coming over to pick oranges off my orange tree. I have this gorgeous orange tree in my yard that is completely full of beautiful oranges, and they are so sweet tasting. But you need to pick off the old oranges before the new oranges bud out. So I asked my grandson if he wanted to earn some money. And so they're coming over to pick oranges, so I have to go pick them up. There's our pocket. We'll be able to put something in there. And then we can go ahead and release our double-sided tape here. And I'm just going to take my little pokey tool here and lift it up. It can be finagly because you want to make sure that you only lift up the one side of the tape and you still leave the sticky side down, which I did. And I want the variegation to show, so I'm just adding it up there, and that kind of hides that mechanism. And then I will be able to come down and trim it off. Now, what I did in the other journal is I added a couple of magnets to hide this, but I didn't want this just to be flipping all over the place. I could probably do it with one magnet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just trim it off there. I'm going to make this one shorter than the previous one, just because I want that to show. And what I have is a couple of different size magnets and metal pieces. You don't always need both the plus and minus of a magnet. If you have a little piece of metal like this, and let me just pull off one of these magnets, then you get more bang for your buck. One of them stuck there. I'm going to stick that back in there. So if you have your magnet and then this metal piece, you don't need the other magnet. So I'm just going to take this piece. Now I want to hide this metal piece, so I'm going to take a circle punch. This is a bigger one. It's 1 3/8. And I'm going to take some of the scrap of this paper. And I actually, it doesn't quite matter where I punch. I think I'm going to punch this blue part here, just because that will accent it a little bit more. So I'm just going to come in here and do a punch of that. And I did do 2 magnets on the other journal. I'm going to debate whether or not I'm going to do 2 on this one. So all you have to do, and it doesn't matter which side you use to glue on this piece. And if I glue that on the back here, then it hides this metal piece and you can't see it. I'm just going to bring in a little bit of glue here on the back of this. It's a very thin metal piece. I wish I could remember where I got these. I may have just gotten them from my sister. And so I'm going to let that dry there. And then I want to also trim this up so it's a little bit more even. Okay. I think we'll just do the one first, and then we'll decide whether or not we're going to do the other one. So the nice thing about these small magnets, and let me show you the packaging so you can see what size. It looks like I need to order some more. It says 20 magnets, small disc. I'm sure I got them from Amazon. Oh, it doesn't really tell me the size of them. I'm going to have to measure one and see if I can figure out the size. Before I go any further, I want to talk to you about the magnets. I did go back through my Amazon account and I did find the magnets. They come two a pack. So you get the small ones and the large ones. And as you can see, I haven't even opened up these large ones yet. They're really not that large. If you look at them, they're very thin and I could use them, but I definitely use these tiny ones. And I did some research and I couldn't find just the small ones themselves, which I wish I could because I really don't need another set of the large ones. I want to tell you what the price is. It's $16.50 for the 2-pack. So this pack, which has 12 magnets, and that means, let me open this up just to double check. It actually means, I think, 24 magnets because you'd use only the one side if you have these discs that I have there. I bet you can get them at a hardware store. Let me open this up because I just want to help you guys. If you do order these, they're really stuck in there so they don't fall out. Okay, let me push that through. Okay, so it definitely is only the one side. So you would get, I bet if I pull all of this off, you get a plus and minus on them. Yes, you do. But like I said, you only have to use one of them if you have these discs. If you don't have these discs, you do have to use a plus and minus. So I just wanted to show you that. And I will list these in the description box. Now, the reason I'm telling you about these specific magnets is because I have other magnets that I have purchased. But if you look at them, they are quite thick. Let me pull this one open. I bought these. Kind of hard to undo, but do you see how thick that is compared to this other little magnet? Let me pull another one off of here. Okay, so look at the difference in the two. It's going to flip around. Do you see the difference how thin this one over here on the left is compared to the right one? If you use this one in your project, it's going to stick up quite far in your journal as to where if you use that one, it's better. And so I'm telling you this because I have bought magnets. Okay, it flipped over there, but it doesn't matter. I have bought these magnets off of Amazon, and sometimes it's hard to see how thick they are. This brand here is called Basic Gray. See how they slide around? And if you just look, do you see? I ordered these, but they're just, even though they are small in circumference, they're still a lot thicker than these basic gray ones. Look at these. They're so tiny. How do you get that open? Yeah, they are very, very tiny. And actually, these are not bad. These are definitely not bad, but I don't know where I got them. They're very, very tiny, but they are thin. So these are pretty good. But look, they're in that box. I don't know. There's no name or anything. So I am going to link these sets of magnets in the description box. And like I said, they come 20 small magnets, but then you also get 12 of these larger ones. And they're not that large. They're, oh, let me grab a ruler so you can kind of see. They are like a ½ an inch. They're not that big, or probably a little over 1 centimeter. So I just wanted to explain that to you guys a little bit to help you out with the magnet situation. They do have a little bit of adhesive on the magnet itself. So I'm going to try to pull that little sticker off. And you can add a little bit more glue if you don't feel like it's going to adhere very well, which is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to use my art glitter glue and just add a dab onto the back of it. And then I'm going to lay it on my finger, run this down. Let me just bring this better in camera view. So I've got my fuzzy cotton tape. I'm just running it down so that it will be in the right spot. I'm going to lift it up and I'm just going to add it to the back right there. And then I'm going to take that piece here and I'm going to add glue to this underside here, including the outside of the paper. And it's pretty good size, so it doesn't matter if it isn't exactly, because the magnet is small, but the disc, the metal disc, is a little bit bigger, so it will still catch it no matter what. I was just putting my glue in. So I think if I go at about there, it will catch it. So I'm just going to glue that down there. And then if I flip this over, it catches it. I think that's good. I don't think I need to do 2 magnets like I did the other one. Yeah, that still holds it. Now, whomever buys this journal, when they open up the front cover, they are going to see this fabric flap, and they are not going to know that it actually will flip up so that they're able to get to the battery pack to change the battery, because it looks unassuming just laying like that. I have a solution for that. And you can either type out the words, or this is once again from my card making days. I have several stamps. One is from Lawn Fawn, the other one is Photo Play, And they are stamps that give directions. Shake me, push here, open, pull, and then I have one that says lift the flap. And I already have it in my positioning tool. And so what I'm going to do is stamp it on a piece of the cardstock that was the opposite side of what that pocket was. So I'm going to just slip it in there, take a look and kind of make sure that it's where I want it to be. So probably at about like there where it's a little bit lighter color. So I showed you this before where you just lay your stamp there. You close the door, it picks up the stamp, and then you're able to ink it. I've got a dark blue ink pad here. It's called Misty Moonlight. It's a Stampin' Up color. And I'm just going to stamp this on this piece of paper. And I think I might do it a couple of times. That's the nice thing, like I said, about the stamp positioning tool, is you can restamp things and they will be in exactly the same spot. There we go. And then I'm going to pull it out of the, actually I ought to take this and stick it back where it belongs. Otherwise, I will end up misplacing it, especially a little one like that. Normally, I would clean it off, but it's so small that it doesn't have a lot of ink in it. And actually, as I recall, this also had some dyes with it. So let's just put this off to the side. And we want to cut this out. I have a circle punch with a scalloped edge. It's 1 1/8 inch. And what I'm going to do is center it and punch that direction out. And then I'm going to do it a second time because I want to be able to put on the back side of this the same color. So let's just move that out of the way. And this out of the way. I'm just going to ink it up just ever so slightly, not a ton. And the other side. And then what I'm going to do is open up my book and I'm going to adhere it to the bottom of the little flap there, just using some Fabri-Tac glue. And actually what I ought to do is put it up toward the top here. And then once I get it on here, then I can put the glue everywhere. So yeah, so that's nice and even. And then I'm going to flip it over and apply glue here on the underside there, on this side of that little punched out disc, and then also on this one. And then sandwich them together. So that hides that little label. Just pull it together. There. And then it has the directions on lifting up the flap. And what I could have done was put it right there. And you know what? I think I'm going to, just to cover that magnet. Let's see if I can do it without totally messing everything up. Because in that way I cover up the magnet. Oh, shoot. I'm in a hot mess here, guys. Everything is sticking together. Let's try. Okay. I need to trim off a little bit more. I do know that. Get that stickiness off. Okay, the magnet is right there. Perfect. Okay, now let's add a little bit more of the Fabri-Tac glue. On here. We're just going to cover that magnet up. We can put it on the back side, just like that. And then we still have it hanging off the side here a little bit to have the front. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. So let me lift that up. You hear Fiona? Yeah, my son's off work again today and she's whining because she wants to be in the bedroom with him. Okay, we're going to lift that up and then adhere this down. And then that covers that magnet in the back. That looks much better. What I ended up doing is adding this tag in the front. There's a little bit of vellum here. This is a really small Stampin' Up! Butterfly. I put a tab on there and a label and just slipped it in there. I added "This journal belongs to" in the corner here, and then on the back cover, what I did is added just some botanical paper. I have this large tag in the back, and then my usual letter from the journal maker here, and I decided just to have just a small little lace pocket here. I thought I might have this journal completed, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought, no, I don't want it to be completed yet, meaning this Monday, because I haven't had a chance to go through every single page and make sure that it is up to the standard that I want it to be. And so even though mentally, and I maybe had voiced that I was going to have this journal completed, I realized, no, continue with the standard you have set for yourself and make sure that every page is where you want it to be. So this journal will probably continue. This is a prime example. This page is completely empty. There needs to be something there. So anyway, I will continue at least one more week on this journal before it is completed, and I list it in my Etsy store. Thank you so much for joining me today at Juanette's Crafting Corner, and probably in another week this journal will be listed. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you guys on Thursday for Quick Tip Thursday. Thanks, and bye-bye.